Hello, and welcome to From a Test to a Testimony. I'm Michelle Drew, and this is a space for real conversations with real people about the moments that changed everything, the seasons that tested them, the turning points they never expected, and the meaning they discovered on the other side of that journey. So these stories aren't about perfection or having it all figured out. They're about resilience, growth, and what happens when life takes an unexpected turn. So I'm so glad you're here. My guest today, I've been so excited to have you meet her. Her name is Diana Fritz. And Diana is a member of the Maxwell Leadership Executive Program, a corporate facilitator, and a certified DISC consultant. She is dedicated to empowering individuals and organizations through open, engaging, and values-driven leadership. Her mission is to create a meaningful impact and ensure every person she encounters feels valued. Her journey has not been without challenges, though. Rather than allowing those seasons to define or limit her, Diana has used them to deepen her perspective, strengthen her voice, and lead with even greater purpose. Beyond her professional achievements, Diana is a devoted wife, mother, and committed volunteer. She thrives on sharing insights about leadership, resilience, and navigating challenges with authenticity. Diana, thank you so much for agreeing to join me today.
Oh, Michelle, it's great to be on the show with you.
Oh,
Thank you.
perfect. Perfect. So take us back, take our audience back to just before everything took a turn and you went on this rocky roller coaster ride called life, right? So bring us to right before and then bring us through your journey.
Sure. Yes, no, January of each year is like an anniversary moment for me. So as I start a year, like for everybody, it's Happy New Year. For me, it's also okay. This is a reminder of when I got my first kind of aha, knock my socks off moment around my cancer journey. I It was 12 years ago in January, and I was before I found out my surprising news. I was 6 months in to being a single mom with two young boys, so like four and two, and an executive, and had planned for a whole lot of things for that year to be a great year for me as a parent, kind of breaking free from some things the from their dad and just getting a new start there. Me serving, like going on missions trips, or just being a better mom, being a better executive, being a better friend, and just really working on restarting that year. So that's where my head was. I had a ring engraved for myself and my best friend that said "Be still" on it. So that was our reminder to, in the chaos and the excitement, take time to be still and reflect. And that was my theme for the year. Little did I know that within 30 days into the year, I was going to get a call after a biopsy near my left eye that I needed to come in to review the biopsy. And if you've been in that seat before and you get the call to come in after a biopsy, you realize that that's not a good sign. If it's good
Right,
news, they tell you over the phone.
right.
And I was determined. And so if you're a mom or a single mom, you probably can relate. Like we just have a whole level of fortitude. We got this. So I went to the appointment by myself, even though I knew it was going to be bad news. And I walked in, and the doctor snuck me in the back door and let me know quickly that I had a very rare form of cancer near my left eye. So not in my left eye, but in the caruncle, which is the little pink area in the corner of your
Oh,
eye.
okay.
And that I would need to be referred to either Bascom Palmer, which is the number one eye hospital in the world down in Miami, or the
Okay.
number two in Pennsylvania. Miami felt a lot closer than Pennsylvania. So, and number one, like we'll all take number one.
Yeah.
So I started to process that information that it was going to be not a year that I expected. And I was still holding in okay. And then the nurse and the doctor got up to give me a hug, and I don't think I was ready for that kindness. And so it hit me going, Okay, this is a lot." Uh, I left that day a little uncertain. I had called my best friend. I hadn't called my parents yet because I just wasn't sure. It's hard to tell your parents
Yeah,
when something is not well with you.
right.
And I went home to process, and I did what most Americans would do. I Googled my type of cancer to see what I could find. Couldn't find that much because it's a pretty rare
It's
form of
rare, right?
cancer, so it really wasn't that helpful. Um, but a very impactful thing to me that day was my friend's mom came knocking on my door, and I lived in a condo. You can't just get in my condo. And somehow she got in, she knocked on my door, and I went there going, okay, who's the maintenance person coming to see me? And she was just standing there. She's like, "Diana, I know the news you're getting, and I didn't want you to be alone. I just wanted to come pray with you and remind you that we can do this." And it helped me tremendously because it took me away from all that's wrong to a lesson from my college days when I injured my knee playing basketball, when I thought that was a big knock my socks off moment. And I was reading Viktor Frankl's A Man's Search for Meaning. And his quote in that book stuck with me then, and it has carried with me through many lessons throughout life that no matter what happens to us, nobody can take away our freedom to choose how we respond.
Mm.
We don't have to give that up. So, yes, I had cancer and a rare form of cancer, and it was going to mean life was going to be turned upside down a little bit. But
Yeah,
I still got to choose whether or not I smiled, how I showed up, if I was a victim or if I was a victor. I still got to pick that. And that kind of conversation, that reminder helped me to then start to make those phone calls to go, okay, mom and dad, this is what's happening. And kind of shift to I am a middle child. And on the disc profile, I'm an S, which means I'm steady. I want to make sure everybody's okay. And
yeah,
so I feel like I've played that role, even though it's my cancer journey. I want to make sure everybody's going to be okay.
right, right. Now, how did your sons, with two boys?
Two boys.
Yes.
Yeah.
How did they handle it? Or were they just too young to even get their head around it at that point?
My youngest one was pretty much too young. I mean, he could tell the obvious. Let me start for a second. So when I had to start to go to Miami for surgeries, my parents came and took my two boys for 3 to 4 weeks. So,
Okay.
which was good. They didn't have to see.
Yeah.
I mean, I would come home from a surgery and my eye would be all bruised, like I look like a battered wife. They
Right.
didn't have to see a whole lot of that, which was good. That probably would have scared them.
Yeah.
But my youngest was a little bit, he could see the obvious, but he was
Right.
two.
He was two,
My
right?
old, yeah, my oldest, it was harder for him because he
Yeah.
was in that VPK age, and we're in Florida, you're 4 into 5, prepping for
Yeah.
kindergarten. So he has that change he's working on. He's can remember, his
Yeah.
mom leaving his dad and going through all that. And then my mom
Uh,
is going through this. It was a lot for him, and it's a lot for, let's say, any child around that age range. They can't really communicate what's
mm,
wrong, and
mm.
it comes out in behavior or all different ways. And I learned a lot of mom lessons during that season.
I'll bet. I'll bet. Yeah. So you came to Miami and had, saw the doctors, and what happened from there?
Yeah, so my first, time frame in Miami, I ended up with multiple surgeries until they got to clean margins around it. So the the tumor was up in my which right now, my left eye, I don't have a left eye, but I did have a left eye for 9 years of this cancer journey.
Oh, okay.
Um, so at that point in time, the tumor was up in my eyelid and along my nose and beside my eye and my caruncle. So we did multiple surgeries until we got clean margins. And
Right.
then my eye was like stitched closed for 4 months.
Okay.
So it was still there. It was trying to work, but it
Yeah.
couldn't open it. So that was an interesting time. It was lots of laughs because you're learning how to do things with one eye that we just, take for granted the two eyes and how powerfully they work together.
Right.
So many, comical stories, I suppose, on trying to navigate things with one eye. But that's okay. We learned to laugh a lot. And then pretty much by the end of year one, we were at a point where it seemed like we were cancer free. I still had different surgeries to check on scar tissue because that's a lot of surgery on an eye. So I would have issues with seeing double and just go back and forth to Miami to navigate that. And we went about 5 years where we were ready to claim cancer free. And then it came back again near my left eye. And so we had another quick surgery. Bascom Palmer always responded so quickly. We had surgery, thought we had clean margins, went another 2 years, found another area. This time was a little more hidden. It had moved into my sinuses and had another procedure. This time it was over Thanksgiving. So then I started to feel the, okay, you've got to do it when they're available. And if that means you're in the hospital over a holiday, then that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
And then in 2021, I still had my eye. But towards the end of that, going into 2022, we were trying different immunotherapy to try to proactively target the tumor. And there was success in the lab, but it just wasn't getting enough blood flow in me. And I was starting to feel the side effects of it. So the stomach issues and things like that. And I kept writing in my journal, okay, God, do you want my eye? Like, is it time for my eye? And I can remember being at an elder board meeting, which I continued to serve on the elder board during that time frame. And they asked to pray with me, and I was like, "Yeah, please, please do." And I said, "Just so you know, I keep asking God, is it time for my eye? Like, and I'm okay with that, right? I just want to do what I need to do." And that night, I got the sickest I had ever gotten from the medicine, and so I was like, "Okay, I think it's time for my eye." And pretty much within days, my doctor called to say, Diana, we've just looked at the MRI. We have to stop shifting. We have to been fighting for your eye. It's time to
Yeah.
shift to fight for your life. And so
Wow.
that that was powerful to get over the phone. I
Yes.
but it's, from a doctor that I had known over 9 years. So he was like
Yeah.
a friend to me. I think we were both teary at
Yeah.
that moment. And I was prepped in a sense, right? I had kept journaling on it. And so Dr. C, if I can live past 50 with one eye, then I'll be thankful. Like we can do this. And he was they were very diligent in how they prepared me because the most surgeons I had operating on me at one time was two. This surgery was a 12-hour surgery with four different surgeons.
Wow.
One being a neurosurgeon because they needed to go in through my skull to remove the portion that was resting on the lining of the brain. So it was intense. I can remember meeting the
Yes.
neurosurgeon and he's like, Diana, this is going to be a knock your socks off moment. And I went, Okay.
Oh,
What does that
wow.
mean? I was like, how
Right.
do what does that mean to me? And he's like, well, I don't think you're going to want to leave your house for multiple weeks after surgery. And I said, "Hmm, okay, all right, we'll see, we'll see. Um, but I remember waking up from that surgery and I was so cold. I was laying on the stretcher, just shivering and shaking. And then it hit me like, okay, God, we made it. Like, I'm alive. We made it.
Oh,
And I was in intensive care for a few days just because of all the work done near my brain and head.
yeah. That's
And
major.
the nurses, just came in and treated me like I looked really normal. I had no idea what I looked like because I couldn't get out of bed. And the next morning, I could tell. my husband was in the room and I could hear his sniffles. And that's when I was said, okay, I must look really rough because for him to tear up,
Yeah.
I look pretty rough. Um, but it was, we made it out of the hospital, I think, in our 7-day time frame, and then came home. And it was, you asked me about my boys earlier,
Mm.
and I would have to say that my youngest, this was harder on him, seeing
Yeah,
me
I'll
like
bet.
this. So they came to see me in the hospital, and with my parents, and my husband had sent them pictures of what I looked like. And my oldest son, um, he's, more mature. He was like, okay, I got it. Like he was ready to make a joke about it and tell me I was ready for Halloween Horror Nights, which is one of his favorite things at Universal. My youngest son walked in the room and he went running out of the room crying because he was
Oh,
so scared. And so I looked at my mom and I was like, go get him and cover his eye, like just shield him, bring him to my good side. He'll be okay. Um, but it was
wow.
still, I think when I came home from the hospital, he was still shooken up. It took him
Yeah.
a week
For
or two.
you to have the wherewithal to like even think about that, bring him to my good side. He'll be fine. I'll sh hide the other side.
I
That's amazing.
think that's the mom in us, right? We
Yeah.
we want to take care of them and help them to be okay.
Yeah.
Um, and it took a few weeks, but then he could, laugh and make jokes with me. I had a season where I was home before I left for radiation. So my radiation was in Miami for 7 weeks. So I had like 4 or 5 weeks at home before I had to leave again.
Okay.
And we had times where, I would turn the microwave on. I didn't have a sense of smell. So my sense of smell got taken away with surgery.
Right.
And I would burn like my favorite like neck wrap that I would use. And they would think like somebody had really bad BO and it was my fire in the microwave. So we just, found things to laugh at. I burned his homework by accident because I was flipping it over a candle in my blind spot. And I was like, Ben, nobody else is going to write your t-shirt that their mom burnt their homework. Like she will laugh at this. So
Now, do you have your sense of smell back now, or no, that's gone forever?
no, I
Yeah.
don't. So it was a little bit back after surgery, but then after my 7 weeks of radiation, it
Mm.
disappeared. What's so interesting is I taste, right? So my taste is like takes on a whole different level. So if I'm near somebody that has fresh flowers, I taste the flowers. Or if I'm near
Mm.
somebody that has really strong perfume, I couldn't tell you necessarily what the smell is. I can tell you that there's something different in the air. And it actually irritates my skin flap a little bit. So it will get a little red at the bottom because like acting as my
Interesting.
my second nose, I guess.
Wow, that's so interesting. Funny how the body adjusts
Yeah.
and uses other senses
Mhm.
when certain senses are taken away from us. So, what would you consider to be your turning point to when you were like, okay, this is it. This is the way life is going to be moving forward, and you're still having hiccups every now and again, isn't that right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
No, I mean, I think I've learned probably what other cancer patients can probably relate to this, that there's times where you have a cancer diagnosis, it gets treated, it goes away, and it never comes back.
yeah,
And then there's cancer patients like me that you feel like your journey's never over.
yeah.
And you're continuing to go for scans and check-ins and evaluate. And I think it's been impactful to me to just look at it as, okay, I this is a part of my journey. It's not going to define me. It certainly has refined me. So I have
Mm.
grown a lot, met people I never would have met, gotten to help patients that were stuck and weren't sure what to do, or help doctors or help nurses. And so just to look for the opportunity in the journey versus the problem. it's easy
Yeah.
to find the problems, right? Those are everywhere.
Yeah.
But where is my opportunity to serve or to help somebody or to make a difference for somebody? And that's really what has helped me to keep
Mm.
going and to see what the opportunity is. I'm going to be in Miami next week for more scans and doctor's appointments, but I also have the opportunity to meet with a patient family advisory council at the University of Miami. I'm a part of that team, so I give feedback on different things, and they invited me as a one of the patients that they're nominating for a patient award for the past year. So
Oh, that's
that's
amazing.
a neat honor to get to do that. I
Ah.
have spent a lot of time there, and I tell them that they're the best place I've been. I've been to a lot of hospitals. But even when you're the best, you still need feedback. And so
Right.
I reach
Right.
out to them every once in a while and it's like, this isn't about me. This is about like the next person. Because I always look at it as I'm 50. I can navigate the technology. I can navigate all the things, but
Mhm.
I'm looking at it for the person that's 75 or 80
Right.
that is
Right.
trying to navigate. And I know that if I push myself forward 30 years, that would be when you would just want to give up, right?
Mm.
Because you're hitting all these roadblocks. So it's been a really nice relationship with that team. I really appreciate the opportunity to share what's working and then other ideas to
That's so
continue to make
great.
it
So
better.
great. Yeah, it amazes me when I talk with people who have had, such a major journey. It's like I fractured my wrist. Like this is a minor inconvenience compared to all that you've been through, and you get through it with a smile and a phenomenal attitude. And I just it amazes me. It amazes me. And in a wonderful way. It really does. So, what would you, and I don't know if you've experienced the same types of things that some of the other people I've talked with, when you were going through it, it sounds like you had friends who kind of knew what to do. Like your friend's mother showing up and knocking on your door and saying, "You are not going to sit here alone. I'm going to be here with you. We're going to get through it together." Did you find that people kind of like disappeared for a moment because they didn't know what to say or they didn't know what to do? Or did you have a circle of friends who really just kind of intuitively knew?
Um, I would say combination of all of it, right? It's been a long journey, and
Yeah.
so at the beginning, I had those people close to me. My boss was really instrumental as well. My parents, my siblings. It was a smaller group. As I went farther along in the journey and started to know more people because my career expanded, my kids, their friend network expanded. You start to know more people, then you have more people like watching and a part of the journey with you. When I had my eye removed, I started a Caring Bridge, which is a blog that somebody going through something medically can open up to share because I just knew I was like, there's no way my husband's going to keep up with everybody texting and saying, "How's Diana?" And I just had felt led to write a book anyway and to work on sharing my story more. And so the blog just made sense. And that is something I update probably once a month now, but just to find ways to update people because a lot of times people care, but they don't want to text you all the time and say what's happening. So sometimes I'll run into somebody I haven't seen in like a few months. And like, Diana, I read your blog. Thank you for updating that because I care, but I don't want to just, bother you to ask questions. So
Right, right. So good, so good. So what would you tell other people who are going into a journey? They've gotten that first phone call. You need to come in to see us, and they know that it's going to be a journey, and it's not going to be fun. What would you what would you say to encourage them to get through it with resilience?
Mhm. Um, wow, there's a lot of different things, but I
Yeah.
think um it's important to make sure that you have time to just sit and reflect on personally what all your questions are. Like what's important to you? What do you need to know? There's going to be lots of people around you that are going to give you insight or what you should ask or what's important and all of that, but you're the only you. And so I think that's really important to just have that space to write all the things, all the questions you have. And not that you don't listen to what others have as well, but you've got to be true to you in this because this none of them are in your body fighting
Yeah.
this. This is you.
Right.
They're going to help you, but um, and I think as well, we're all wired differently from a personality perspective. So I shared, middle child and a steady on the
Yeah.
disc profile. I want to make sure everybody's going to be okay.
Right.
Um, my way of sharing information and processing information is different than somebody else is going to be. I learned to made sure I asked questions, made sure I understood what I'm going to call it talk track because that's puts my business speak on for a minute. But um, I just want to make sure that I always understand I have the news. What is it that I want to share? And how is it that I want to share it? Because
Mm.
it's going to spread as soon as I start to share it. And
Right.
so I don't necessarily just share everything, right?
Yeah.
And if particularly things are unknown or uncertain, those are things I don't share until I have some certainty because there's a difference of you want to be open and transparent, but if it's not certain yet,
Yeah.
it creates a lot of noise and uncertainty, and it's going to make it worse for your heart. And I
That's
think
so good.
that is like a really important element where my husband at times has been like, I feel like you've looked at your MRI report and you have an idea that it's not good, but you haven't said anything to me. And I said, no, you're absolutely right. I did have an idea it wasn't good, but until I saw the doctor, I don't know whether or not it's
Right.
good. And so I don't want to spend any time worrying about it
Wow.
until I know the answers. So I don't, but I did learn to at least tell him, like, this is what I saw. But I don't, many people will come to me and be like, but aren't you worried about this? And aren't you worried about this? And I just go, like,
Yeah.
no, like,
No.
worry adds no days to my life, and nor will it to yours. So, I want to enjoy the days that I have. And until it's something that is like concrete and I need to act on, try
Mm.
to stay away from that worry element because it will. I mean, we talked before we joined today, right, about depression being at different
Yeah.
levels and all-time high. And I think that's an
Yeah.
element of what takes us down. We worry about, well, what if?
Mm.
But what if's not there yet. And so, or we don't have an answer yet. And then we may miss out on living our moment like that we
Yeah.
get right now because we're distracted about what if. And
Yeah.
it's a tight balance, but I just nobody can fight that for you. Like
Right.
you've got to figure out how you're going to navigate that and manage that.
Right.
And I told my dearest friend 2 weeks ago on the phone, she started to worry. I was like no, like I don't worry doesn't help me. I love you, but I'm not going there today. And
Wow.
you're gonna have to have some conversations like that because you have to protect
Right.
your will to fight and stay
Right.
strong.
Right. That is so good. And that is such an incredible skill that everybody could incorporate into their lives. Whether they have a diagnosis or not, people just worry about things that are probably never going to happen, right? And that what a gift that you just shared with us. That's amazing. Amazing. Yeah. So anything in closing that you want to leave the audience with today, Diana?
I think been reflecting on this a lot lately, and also as I get to talk with different groups, our ability to show up and be resilient
Mm.
has been practiced over time. We don't just show up and we're resilient today.
Right.
And I think when I look back over my resilience, it's the foundation that I started as a youth, right? In terms of my faith and my values and the practices I was going to be put in place to be still and to go all through that. And I just would encourage anybody, regardless of you have a diagnosis or you don't, what is that foundation? Get grounded in it, protect who
Mm.
you are, protect who you want to be, protect who your family wants to be, because you are preparing yourself for the good days and the tough days. And it's important. And I think it's been critical in order for me to be able to show up and smile and talk to you today.
Yeah, definitely. Amazing. Amazing. Now, where can people get your book? We'll make sure that we put a link in the show notes. Where can they get your book?
Well, I'm excited. We've got two ways. We've got Amazon and
Okay.
also Audible. So I spent time
Oh,
personally reading it at the end of 2025. So I was challenged by a friend that it needed to be in my voice. So we can say Audible and Amazon.
I love that. I love that. And I'll make sure I have those both links to be able to share them so people can easily get to them. I know I'll be doing Audible. I would love to hear your voice telling me that story, the whole yeah, I'm an Audible fan for sure. I'm so glad you did that. Well, thank you everyone. Thank you, Diana, first, and thank you everyone for tuning in. If you know someone who needs to hear Diana's story, please share it with them. And we drop new episodes twice a month on the 11th and the 22nd. And I'm just so grateful that you're here. And thank you again, Diana.
Thank you.